Hey, it's Ezrin. I've officially been working in the lab for about a week and a half. And I've seen some crazy things that I couldn't imagine. Most recently, there was a mom who turned and bit her 18-month-old. They were both brought in, and shortly after, the mom attacked the staff, and she was put down as an effect. And the 18-month-old was seen as too young and was put down. My job in the lab has been unclear. Most of the time, I'm working with everyday patients who aren't infected, and then the other half of my time, I'm talking to the infected. It's weird. When they're first infected, they don't even seem like anything's wrong. They have a bad cough, or they have a scratch that is infected. And then they slowly start to lose it. And then there's the people who know how bad it gets, who know what the infected become, who just decide to take care of it on their own. There have been hundreds of people who get infected and just decide to take care of it on their own. There's a lot of people who don't want to turn into whatever infected turn into. At the same time, there's also the fact that we went from a couple people a month coming in for infection to a couple hundred every week. It's spreading, and it's spreading fast. And not only that, but people are going absolutely insane. You get scratched while you're walking around, and it starts to turn red, and people think that they're dying. No, sir, you're not dying. You just forgot to get your shots. It's hard because this virus doesn't discriminate on the people it infects. It's got an age range from anywhere to 96 to 2. The worst are the children. People on the news started calling them ankle biters, which is the worst thing I think I've ever heard. A child is dying and decaying, and you're going to give it a nickname for the news. I work with these people every day. They're just everyday people who got a disease. But no cure is coming. They've come up with something called the end-all. It's something that instead of curing would just kill off people who have the virus. One shot and you're down. They call it the end-all be-all project. They're starting to give up on the cure. I don't think we should. It's just that there's a new strain and no one really knows what to do because this one is a hell of a lot scarier. The first one was called Purple Death, or PD for short. This one is called Echo. Echo is a whole lot more scary than PD. With PD, you go crazy. There are patients who pull out their hair, scratch at their skin until they rip it open, that kind of thing. You know, infected stuff. But people who get Echo are so much worse. They can change their voice to sound like anyone or anything. They can sound like somebody's children, sound like somebody's partner, sound like your best friend, sound like a heart monitor going off, something as simple as a bird flying. they started using it as a hunting tactic in everyday life. We have been told to not follow any voices, wear headphones in certain units, things like that. And in everyday life, we were told that no matter what you hear, until you see it, don't believe it. The world's been turned on its head. The government is going crazy. They're taking everyone they can. As long as you're able-bodied, or mostly, they don't care. You are now part of the government that can either be fighting this plague or you're working in the labs. Every doctor is working on it. And at the same time, doctors are completely terrified every time that they go into work. I know that no one's listening because this is just some DVD from 5036, but God, I hope someone's listening. If you're listening, I hope that there's a cure. I hope that you're better. I hope that the world is finally getting back to normal. But I have a feeling that it's not. Anyway, I'll update you the next time I can. It's just, I don't know how much more I can take with this plague. I don't feel like explaining it to the recorder is going to do anything to help anyone in the future. But I figure if it'll help, if there's a shot that it might help, then I have to take it. So that's what I'm doing. Hey, it's Ezra. I've been working in the lab for 2 months. The world has gone even crazier than before. I thought it was literally impossible for that to happen, but clearly I was wrong. They started putting infected in all the same area and blowing them up. Buildings, towns. Sometimes all the uninfected people don't even get out before they start blowing everything up. They say it's because the infected cause too many issues and that this is just the best way to stop the spread. But it's not. People are getting sick. We still don't know where this thing came from, don't know how it's transferred other than possibly scratches or bites from someone who's infected, or maybe they just got a little too close, or maybe they sneezed on you, or maybe you were around somebody who had it. It's completely unknown. The craziest part is that people have started to have babies who are born infected. They're so little. The parents don't even get to be around their child. They're devastated. A couple of the lab techs are there to observe the newborns. Sadly, I'm one of those people. At first, it's sweet. You're holding this tiny being in your arms and rocking them back and forth, and they're so tiny and sweet, and all you can think about is how they don't even know what's going on in the world yet. And then slowly, they just turn into this rotting mess. they're not big enough to do absolutely anything. They just turn into corpses that are breathing. And at some points, it doesn't even sound like that. And then there's also the ones that their throat starts to spasm. So you'll just hear this soft clicking sound. And it's the sound of them not being able to breathe. I don't want to be in the lab anymore, but I don't have a choice. I'm not allowed to leave. Once you join, you're not allowed off. The only way that you can get off is if you get infected. And that's the most terrifying thought I've ever had. I'm still talking to regular patients and still working with regular patients, but more and more I'm talking to infected people, hearing about their lives before they got infected. There was one woman who was a school teacher, and she had been helping this little boy because his mom turned into one of the infected. She decided that she would take him in, and when she did, she found out the hard way that he was infected too. He hid it from her because he didn't want to be sent to the same place where his mom died. So he hid the bite, trying to just be normal, but that's not how that works. Eventually, he bit this woman. She brought him in and said that he was infected, and then showed us her arm. The bite was infected already. There was nothing we could do to help her. No disinfectant could fix it. And she knew it. She came in and just sat down. There was no emotion on her face. There was nothing. People here are terrified. And the population is downsizing by hundreds of thousands. Our planet used to be 8.4 billion people. Now, it's down to 6 billion people. It's only been about 8 months since it started. We lost over 2 billion people in 2 months. 2 billion people in 8 months, and no one even has a cure. There's new strand after new strand, and I'm right there in the middle of it. I know that this is stupid and that I shouldn't be making this, but all I can think about is how my mom made a video like this. When COVID hit, is what it was called. She made a video once every 3 weeks. And at first she was really excited, and then just slowly got less excited. Except with hers, you had a hard time breathing and lost your sense of smell. With our plague, you go crazy and start eating yourself. I don't know. I'm 18, and I don't quite understand what's going on. I'll update when I can, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna look up anytime soon. Hey, it doesn't. They took my 3 brothers today. They're fighting against the infected. I'm all alone in my house. I'm the only one that was chosen for the lab, and I am all by myself. Things have gotten worse. It's now been 10 months since the plague started. We've lost 4 billion people in the past 10 months. It's just spreading faster and faster. We're at 4 billion people on this earth. Think about that. When you look outside your window, imagine half of the people you see every day gone. And everyone who's not dead is either almost dead or they're hiding for their lives. All you hear day and night is gunshots and explosions and God knows what else. They started giving us weapons, even in the lab. I now go into work in a full setup. I go in a bulletproof vest and cargo pants filled with every kind of ammo you can possibly think of. I have knives, hatchets, that kind of thing, strapped to my back. Guns on my belt loops and ankles. I've only went shooting a couple times. When I was like 15 with my dad, I went once for a birthday. And then once because there was this really big bear that tried to get into our backyard because at the time we were living in the middle of nowhere. It was trying to eat our dog. So I shot my first bear. But this is different. This isn't a bear that's trying to eat something it shouldn't. This isn't shooting at a target. This is shooting at people. I'm a lab tech. I'm supposed to be a lab tech. That was what I was told. This isn't a lab tech. Putting people down was not part of the job description. Then again, I didn't really get a job description, nor did I want this job. It's crazy to think about. A lot of my favorite patients aren't even around anymore. There's more explosions. Most of every city is just rubble. People don't live in the city anymore. The bigger the city, the faster it fell. New York, Hollywood, New York City, those types of things, gone. DC, gone. Texas also was pretty bad. But it was also because they tend to take care of things on their own. Same with Florida. Anywhere with a lot of people died out pretty quick. Anywhere with a high population is basically gone. I just want to find a cure. Recently, they've told me that sometimes you'll get someone you know in the lab. One of my coworkers got their son as a patient, and they weren't able to switch because everyone else had too many patients on their hands already. They had to watch their child turn into whatever the hell an infected is. They refused to call them zombies or undead, which is stupid because that's what they are. They have no heartbeat. That means they are dead, and yet they are still moving, breathing, eating, screaming, echoing. That means they are undead. That is the definition of a zombie. But that's besides the point. I've run out of books to read. I've also grown increasingly tired of eating cans of beans, but that's just a me thing. There's also the fact that I made a realization that one of my friends has lost almost all of his family. Jonathan and Alex have been on my mind constantly. Alex lost her boyfriend. Jonathan lost almost everyone. He lives in a pretty big city, and they all worked as office jobs, so they didn't last very long. It's just him. He's working in the labs with me, actually, at the moment. Seeing him is actually the highlight of my day. I only see him for about 5 to 10 minutes a day, but either way, it's better than nothing, is what I keep telling myself. I've started to do crazy things, because why not? Things that make absolutely no sense. The laws are pretty much non-existent at this moment, so you can walk into a store and scream, yell, kick things. No one really cares. Now, if you have a bite mark and you do those things, people will just about lose their shit, but that's only if you're bitten. There's also, of course, the dumb people who get tattoos of bite marks and end up dead 2 seconds later. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea, but it happens quite a lot, actually. I've started drawing. I've watched every single movie ever made on this stupid, godforsaken planet. I've also looked into time travel, and I've also looked into building a spaceship. Lots of things that I know will never happen, but figured why not give it a shot? You know, if aliens can, if zombies can exist, then why not? Aliens have to exist at this point. So why not go visit them? My coworkers think it's dumb, but at the same time, if zombies can exist, so can space travel. It just makes sense. But then again, my mom didn't think that we could invent flying cars, and here we are. I don't know what year you're listening from, but hopefully it's close by, and hopefully there's nothing to do with infected left. Hopefully when you hear this, you have absolutely no clue what I'm talking about. Hopefully when you listen to this, you think that I'm just something like some crazy person on the internet. Or maybe that I've completely lost my marbles, or that I have some crazy disease, or that maybe it was true at some point, but it's never going to happen again. Who knows? All I know is that I am hoping for you. For your sake and mine. And everybody else's? Who knows? Life is getting kind of crazy. Anyway, I'll update you when I have a chance.